This is not good for black people. It's not good for white people or Hispanic people. And an open border like we have is bad for those coming in and for those that are already here.
Hispanic voters are abandoning the Democrat Party. What's driving them away? Well, we break it all down for you with our panel, Texas patriot Maria Espinoza, and host of This Is America, Rich Valdés, coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to the Chris Salcedo Show here on Newsmax. Hispanics are abandoning the Democrat Party in droves. Despite what progressive liberals may think, the Hispanic community loves this country, and they reject the socialist policies that are afflicting the countries they or their ancestors fled. Here to weigh in is founder of the Remembrance Project, Maria Espinoza. Also with us is the host of This Is America with Rich Valdés, Richie Valdés himself. Richie, I want to tee this next one up for you. On Friday, Jen Psaki, Biden's former brain, responded to reports that baby formula is being shipped to illegal aliens at the border while American babies are struggling to get baby formula. Watch.
There's something called the Flores Statement Settlement, which she may or may not be aware of, that's been in place since 1997. It requires adequate food and elsewhere specifies age appropriateness, hence formula for kids under the age of 1. CBP is following the law. I would also note that we also think it's morally the right thing to do.
Okay. So, Richie, Team Biden thinks it's morally the right thing to do to take baby formula from American babies and give it at taxpayer expense to the children of illegal aliens. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think I would remind her that there's something called national security, and it's expected that we're going to have a secure border when we pay taxes for one. Now, there's no question that you have to feed children that are in our care. We're not going to have, death upon death or starving kids. That's a given. It's granted. But for Jen Psaki, Silent P, like I like to call her, she's beyond the pale, and I think that's why she was kind of laughed out of office on her last day of office, which was that Friday. And this is a bigger issue of why is it, if there's such an attention to following the law, like she's saying, why aren't we following the law like the Remain in Mexico policy that was instituted by Trump, or even just using existing asylum law and not softening it or weaken it, which the Mayorkas and the Biden administration have done. So I think there's a lot of inconsistencies to her statement.
Well, that's right. If we were enforcing the law, we wouldn't have to divert so much baby formula down there to the border. I want to ask you both to weigh in on this if you could. Joe Biden's regime destroys Latino communities at the border. We already went over that. The members of the Congressional Black Caucus, or as I call them, the Congressional Black Communists, they sit down silently. They're nowhere to be heard. Shouldn't Hispanic leaders, Maria, call them out for their cold-hearted apathy?
Oh, absolutely, Chris. And, you are a liberty-loving Chino like the rest of us are, and it seems like our voices aren't heard. So the more conservative you are, when you are for family, faith, and freedom, you're ignored. So, I'm glad that Rich here started his podcast, as I did as well, to give more Latinos a voice. I mean, we're all American first, but I think right now we're in a certain situation, very precarious situation, Chris, where we can't afford to make mistakes. And right now our border has been invaded for, a year and a half almost here. And there are millions of illegal aliens here, and we have to be very careful on those candidates that we select.
Well, Richie, is the silence of the Congressional Black Caucus and the destruction of Hispanic communities on the border, is it acceptable?
It's an interesting phenomena that when you are a conservative, you seem to no longer count, no matter what color you are, whether you're black, Hispanic, or otherwise. If you don't embrace what the communists are pushing, what they're saying, if you're not part of the progressive bandwagon, then you just don't count. You're no longer brown in their opinion. So, yeah, I think they're full of it. If we're going to call a spade, we have to do that, and we have to be honest in what we're doing. This is not good for black people. It's not good for white people or Hispanic people. And an open border like we have is bad for those coming in and for those that are already here.